Nigel Farage is the former head of the UK Independence Party. He helped lead the Brexit campaign. He's been a long time, a pretty vehement supporter of President Trump, one of the very few on the island in which he lives. He joins us tonight. Nigel, thanks for coming on. As a Trump supporter, what do you make of the move toward engagement, war with Syria?
Well, just think about what's happened over the course of the last 15 years or so. Iraq, we went in, we tried to get rid of the Arab nationalist dictator. We succeeded. What was the result? Hundreds of thousands of death and chaos. Libya, the same. We go in, we get rid of an Arab nationalist leader that we don't like, and we open the door for ISIS and, of course, the crisis we've seen coming over the Mediterranean to Europe. So our track record of intervening because morally we think we should, without a proper strategy, without working out a long-term plan, is bad. And let's just look at this. A week ago, the president said American troops would pull out of Syria. Tonight, we appear to be on the verge of perhaps quite large-scale military action, and not just with America, France and Britain joining too. Do we have a plan? Can you imagine if the scale of the strikes was such that Assad got toppled? Do we actually think that would make Syria safer and better? You know, whatever we think of Assad and the support that he's had from the Russians, they have just beaten ISIS militarily in the field. So there are some big issues here where we have similar interests.
And yet the advocates for this are telling us that somehow Assad, which has been his government has been at war with Sunni extremists for years, was somehow in league with ISIS. So it raises a larger question: why all the lying? What is this really about? I'm honestly confused. But I know lying when I see it, and it's going on now in a large scale.
Yeah, I understand that. But I'm also curious, too, as to why Donald Trump, who was so clear in 2013, as indeed I was, as to why it was not a good idea to get involved in Syria, it was not a good idea to arm the rebels, quite why Donald Trump appears to have had this change of mind, I don't know. It's seemed for some time that the globalists in the West need to have an enemy and kind of want to have a war. And, you know, going to war is the most serious decision any government can ever take. This should not be done without clear strategy. And I'll give a warning to all the politicians here in Britain and many of those in America. You and your chums in your clubs tonight may think this is the right thing to do. Be very careful and very cautious about public opinion. A poll out in Britain today shows only 1 in 4 Britons supports military action, and I'll bet in America it's not a majority either.
But if you don't believe in democracy, it doesn't really matter. Last question quickly. Do you think that one of the purposes of war would be to divert attention from the fact that you're not taking care of your own people? You're elected to look after your own people. And when you don't, maybe having a war is a way to change the conversation.
Yes, it is. It's also a great deflection away from all sorts of social issues, you know, which really give all of our problems great countries. The first role of government is to protect and maintain the interests of its citizens. Exactly. However horrible things in Syria are, they do not affect directly American interests or British interests either. And I hope our leaders think again.
I hope so too. Nigel Farage, thank you for that.